asked my chat the most important questions they had about cheating in Warzone, and I'm gonna give them the best answer that I can in this video. If you find any of this informative, make sure to drop it a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications because there's a lot of juicy information. And who knows, maybe this gets picked up by some news sources. So the first question is, do I think there have been more hackers in Season 6 than Season 5? The answer to that is naturally yes, but no. So overall, at the beginning of every season, everyone comes back. So you end up in this situation where, you know, it's not just the people that are good coming back. It's not just the players that are like, oh, what's new coming back. It's the cheaters too. Everyone comes back. So I would say no, there's not percentage-wise more cheaters in Season 6. Because the same thing happened at the beginning of Season 5. If you don't believe me, literally just go watch any of my videos from the beginning of Season 5. I promise you there was a huge influx of hacker videos. At the end of the day, it's just frustrating because there's so many glitches at the beginning of every season, which is kind of outrageous, but it is what it is. So adding that in with the cheaters, the game just gets really frustrating, hard to play, which is why I actually tweeted out this about Warzone at the current moment. Now this will probably be taken down later on once everything's fixed, just because I just don't like keeping stuff like that on my account, but I just wanted to give you a heads up. Next thing is, did they clickbait us with the announcement of the anti-cheat? Now popping up on your screen right now is a picture of the announcement, and in that announcement they're basically calling out cheaters and they're saying we'll see you tomorrow, and as of today we should either be getting an anti-cheat or not getting an anti-cheat. As of the time of recording this video, we have now learned that Warzone will be launching a kernel level anti-cheat, and that is Ricochet. Ricochet is going to be their anti-cheat, and if it's kernel level, that means it's gonna basically get everything, so that's gonna be massively helpful. I hope that there's really no way around it. We've seen in games like Valorant that there is a way around it, but today I'm pumped. I'm pumped. It's been internally developed within Call of Duty, within, you know, all these companies. It's going to be dropping for Warzone first with the Pacific map, and then second with Vanguard. Ladies and gentlemen, this is huge news, but hopefully everything still kind of stands. You know, we're still waiting to see how good it really works, but I'm pumped about it. So I'm basically just going to read this to you guys, and we're going to cover it real quick. Cheating in Call of Duty is frustrating for players, developers, and the entire community. Our teams have made great strides in combating this persistent issue that affects so many, yada, yada, yada. We don't care. But we are here to introduce the Ricochet anti-cheat, a robust anti-cheat system supported by a team of dedicated professionals focused on fighting unfair play. The Ricochet Anti-Cheat Initiative is a multifaceted approach to combat cheating, featuring new server-side tools which monitor analytics to identify cheating, enhanced investigation processes to stamp out cheaters, updates to strengthen account security, and more. Ricochet Anti-Cheat's back-end anti-cheat security features will launch alongside Call of Duty Vanguard and later this year with the Pacific update coming to Call of Duty Warzone. In addition to server enhancements coming with Ricochet Anti-Cheat is the launch of a new PC kernel-level driver developed internally for the Call of Duty franchise and launching first with Call of Duty Warzone. This driver will assist in the identification of cheaters, reinforcing and strengthening the overall server security. The kernel-level driver launches alongside the Pacific update for Warzone later this year. While the kernel driver is only a part of the Ricochet Anti-Cheat, which is only a part of Ricochet Anti-Cheat, will release to PC. By extension, console players playing via crossplay against players on PC will also stand to benefit. Duh. The kernel-level driver will subsequently release with Call of Duty Vanguard at a later date. What is Ricochet Anti-Cheat? The new anti-cheat security initiative is designed to fight unfair play, which is why Ricochet Anti-Cheat matters. Ricochet kernel-level drivers are given a high level of access to monitor and manage software and applications on a PC, such as your PC's graphics card driver. The driver element of the Ricochet anti-cheat system will check the software and applications that attempt to interact and manipulate Call of Duty Warzone, providing the overall security team more data to bolster security. Once the kernel level driver is deployed, it will be required to play Warzone. In its initial rollout on Call of Duty Warzone, the kernel level driver will only operate when you play on PC. The driver is not always on. The software turns on when you start Call of Duty Warzone and shuts down when you close the game. Yes! Plus, the kernel level driver only monitors and reports activity related to Call of Duty. Feedback and transparency are crucial. You are also a critical part in the pursuit to combat cheating, so please continue to report issues in-game, allowing the Ricochet anti-cheat system to adapt all tools to combat cheaters. Fantastic, dude. Basically, it works. It works. Hey, listen, we didn't get it today. The anti-cheat's not coming today, which is expected. I never expected Warzone to drop it, but it's sick. So basically how it's gonna work is when you play Call of Duty, it's gonna cut on. When you're not playing Call of Duty, it cuts off, which means you're not losing or giving out any security details. It just makes sure that the software is not like any software on your computer is not affecting Warzone. That is what it comes down to, and that is why you're gonna get banned. So that's how we're gonna combat these cheaters. That's huge. I did not think, and I was not told that it was going to be kernel level, but since it is kernel level, that is huge. It is like, say to explain kernel level, basically how it works is your computer has like 5 layers, right? I don't know the exact number, but normally, like cheaters get in through like the very, very bottom layer because they install hacks on, or like the second layer, and they install hacks on the computer or whatever you want to call it. And then the only way to combat those is to have a lower level access. It's like DEFCON 5 to 1, right? So imagine they're on DEFCON 2. You've got to be on DEFCON 1 to combat it. And that is exactly what kernel is. So that is such a big deal. And that is going to make a huge difference in the cheating situations. We will not see as many cheaters. And I'm actually like super pumped about that. I don't think that we're going to see too much going on. Hopefully the rest of this video is still it still makes sense, but I did want to discuss some of the questions that my chat had asked me about it before we even found out about all of the kernel level stuff. So we're gonna go ahead and hop into that, and we'll cover that now. Console hacks, first of all, do they still exist? No, but sorta. They can exist, but not really like being distributed. Basically, what happens when the anti-cheat comes out as well? How does this affect aimbot and walls, which is like the big cheats that is like a huge problem on console, because it's like, you know, they can literally see you through walls and they can aimbot you on console, which is outrageous. I think that that's going to be easily found. I think from what my understanding of the anti-cheat was, from what I've been told behind the scenes, that it's going to be based on like an overlay, which is hilarious. It's going to be about the overlay. So if there's an overlay on the screen of like walls or anything like that, it's going to be easily detected. Now, the next question is, will this affect strike packs and Coronus? I don't think so. I think we're still going to be sitting in a situation where console players can cheat with their strike packs and their Coronus. I think that we'll still be able to see that on PC. However, you know, on PC, you have the software on your computer, so maybe it gets detected. That it brings up the next question, which is how effective will the anti-cheat be? How long will it work? Yada, yada, yada. I think it's going to be about 98% effective. I think you're still going to run into cheaters. It's just not going to be as often. I think you're going to end up in a situation where, you know, you're still going to die to people that are better than you, and then you're going to fuss about it, and then, you know, some YouTuber that's searching for clout is going to make a video on, oh my gosh, the cheaters are the worst, and oh my goodness, streamers are still cheating, oh my goodness. So stuff like that, I think, is still going to happen. You know, there's going to be a ton of excuses just to continue to chase clout on YouTube, on Twitch, on all these platforms, on Twitter, whatever it is, especially TikTok. Jeez, aloo. I think there's still going to be a lot of that happening, even though we're going to drop down to probably a 2% cheater count. And we're going to see a lot more of the strike packs and Cronuses and stuff like that. But I don't think it's gonna be nearly as big of a deal. You're not gonna run into it nearly as much, but you're still gonna think in your head whenever you're running against players that are better than you, oh, are they cheating? They've got to be cheating, because at this point we've kind of been taught that most players that are better than us are cheating, and a lot of that comes down to skill-based matchmaking, how skill-based matchmaking affects like mentally how we progress throughout like the way that we play video games and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't think it'll be super ineffective, but I also think that we'll still be in a situation where stuff's gonna happen. How long is it gonna work for? Probably not super long. The issue with the anti-cheat is, from what I was told, it was again like an overlay thing. So all that happens is that these companies that do cheats, they just work against it and they figure out a way to be hidden from the anti-cheat again, and that's it. That's it. I mean, the initial ban wave that hit everybody that was on what was it, engine owning or whatever, like the initial ban wave that hit them, they fixed that. They now don't have that issue. It's not detectable again, and they give out the spoofers and all this other stuff. So I think they'll fight back pretty quick with the cheats, and then we'll end up in a situation where, you know, you have to go to specific websites to get the cheats instead of just them being very, like, vastly across the board. It's going to be a little bit more expensive because, well, you're going to want to pay a little bit more to get those cheats. So hopefully all these cheaters are broke and they're not using their parents' credit card. That is the goal right here. If we can make it a very exclusive thing that's very expensive, maybe it's a little harder to do, because that's kind of what we've seen in other games, that you have to pay like $100 to get these cheats. I think a lot of us have seen that in like the GTA scene, because if you make it like too cheap, then you'll have a bunch of people getting it, but you only make like $1,000 whenever you could easily, well, I say 1,000, probably like 10,000, when easily if you raise it, then you don't have to do as much work, and then, I mean, you end up making more money. So it's just, you know, supply and demand. Either way, VPN. Okay. Here's a fun one. VPN, is it against TOS, and how bad is it really? I think it all comes down to the way that you use it. It depends on the VPN you're using. It depends on a lot of things. There are so many little things that affect this question. So we need to hit it, and we need to hit it in a way that people can understand the way that these VPNs work. So there's a lot of VPNs out there. There are things like ExpressVPN. There are things like NordVPN. There are things like OpenVPN that has the no lag VPN. There are SBMM Warzone. No, what is it? It's Escape SBMM or something like that. Whatever it is meant to break SBMM. If you are using a VPN that is meant to give you easier lobbies, is that against TOS? Technically, no. Technically, it's not. Now, a lot of people in the scene of like the cheaters will say, well, yeah, it is against TOS because it's giving you an advantage over other players. It's breaking something. In reality, is it? Is it breaking anything? Because all it's doing in most cases, unless you're like VPNing to like India for that exact reason, if you are using something that is putting you to your closest server, it isn't against TOS. And the reason why is because in TOS, it says if you use a VPN to give yourself an unfair advantage against other players. So that would be like making it where you're lagging and they're not, so you can hit your shots and they can't hit you. That's kind of like a good example of what that is. So if you're using it to get closer servers, even if they're not as good as you are, it's not like you have an unfair advantage. Everyone has the exact same like ability to be good at the game across the board. And even if that seems unethical in most people's eyes, or I don't know, it's like a 50-50 from what I understand. In a lot of people's eyes, it's unethical. It's still not against TOS. It's not, because technically you don't have an unfair advantage. There's no advantage if you're just better than someone. That's like saying if I went up against a bunch of pro players and they kicked my butt, that's against TOS. Like, that's just not the case, plain and simple. So it's a big question, and we don't understand it because the TOS is so vague. So if it was explained a little bit better, they changed the TOS and they covered VPNs a little bit more, just like they should be covering cheaters a little bit more, and it made it more understood as to the way that they're allowed to be used and not allowed to be used, I think that would be much better. But I think that people that are using VPNs like the way that I've used VPNs in the past, even though I got called out on by so many people for this, the way that I use it is because when I play, for whatever reason, it feels like I'm constantly getting laggy lobbies. I'm sure a lot of you guys have this exact same problem, and it's because they connect you to really, really bad servers. So what I end up doing is, after playing for an hour in super laggy lobbies, like to where my bullets will just go through people and I'm getting desynced around corners and stuff like that, I'll end up cutting on a VPN that puts me to my nearest server no matter what. Now, that VPN does have a chance to be a low skill lobby, but it also has a chance to be a high skill lobby. It's a 50-50 shot no matter what way you look at it. It is putting you to the closest lobby. That is the way that I've used it, and it is because I am tired of lagging. That is it across the board. I hope that that's understood so that people don't miss it. You will see that. I will discuss it anytime that I do it, especially on stream. I will say, hey, I'm cutting on the VPN for the sake of getting no more laggy lobbies. And then people will be like, oh my God, Expel, you're VPNing? No, I'm not going to India where they have a 0.3 KD. I'm literally going to Austin, Texas, where it is the gaming capital of the United States. So the chances of me getting a demon lobby is much higher than someone that, say, is in a different country or is in Hawaii or something like that. So it all kind of comes down to where you are located. So if you're located in an area where people have a naturally bad kill death ratio and they're bad at the game, yeah, it might seem a little sus. But if you're located somewhere like Austin, Texas, that again is the gaming capital of the US, and if not Austin, you get Dallas servers, again, the second gaming capital of the US, it just makes no sense. So you have to make sure that you look at the whole picture rather than whether or not someone's using a VPN for whatever it may be. So make sure that if you're going to call someone out, make sure that they're using it for the wrong reasons. I personally use it only when I'm lagging. That's it. That's it. And you can check me on that. I literally, like in a lot of videos, it'll be like I'm playing against people that are really bad. I'll be like, hey, I'm not even using a VPN. So it is what it is. How many top players / streamers are going to be banned? Big question. Big question. How many people are we going to see get banned? I don't think we're going to see a lot. We're in a situation where people that are bad at the game don't understand how good players can actually get at the game. And that is a bit of a problem. The reason why, again, is because of skill-based matchmaking, which technically isn't even skill-based matchmaking. It's retention-based matchmaking, which means after you do so bad for so long, they'll throw you a bone. And most people will see that as skill-based. But the reason it's called retention is because they want to keep you playing no matter what. Now, the beauty of it is these streamers are so good. When you have a 5 KD, the max lobby you can get in is like a 1.4. That's where they max you out across the board, is like a 1.4 lobby. You won't see anything higher than that anywhere. 1.4 is literally the highest I've really ever seen. You might see a crazy lobby, but most of the time, if you look at those lobbies as well, low skill lobbies especially, you'll notice that there's 3 people, maybe like 5 people that are actually showing their KD, and it bases it off of those 5 people. So you can't really, you know, fuss about that. But how many of them are gonna get banned is the question. I don't think we're gonna see a lot get banned because they're not cheating. Like, there's a lot of people that say there's this like big thing and everyone's like, you know, trying to protect each other. Listen, we're not friends. Like, I know that everyone thinks that everybody in the gaming scene, the COD scene, is like protecting each other and all this other stuff. Most people don't even know each other. We're not protecting each other. It's not because we're protecting each other's backs. Like, even like if someone gets exposed for cheating, I've seen it happen before. If they don't get banned on Twitch, they will progress so very well, because at the end of the day, everyone loves a comeback story. So exposing anyone, especially when they have a ton of subs, doesn't do much. I mean, look at all the people that are like spreading negativity in this scene and how well they like flourish. It's crazy to see. So I don't think anyone's really going to get banned, especially not the top players. It just wouldn't make sense. And on that same line, is there a whitelist? Technically, I think there is.
No, they didn't talk about that. But what they did say on top of this is that there is no system in place that would make somebody untouchable if they were whitelisted. Specifically, that is the word. He said nothing in the system would make someone untouchable, meaning that regardless if you were whitelisted, if you threw on cheats, you would be banned. There was nothing stopping a player from being banned. If the anti-cheat wants to detect their account, they are not untouchable. So if they have not been banned after this, they're likely not cheating.
Is there a way to determine good versus cheating? Yes and no. I think there's a way that you sit there and you watch them the whole time. But at the end of the day, like, what you have to do is look through a lot of things. And that's where not having an anti-cheat is an issue. Is if you have to look through a lot of things and you don't have a kernel level, if you don't have like kernel level access through an anti-cheat to where you can see everything that's going on while they're playing the game and that's turned on and that is affecting the game, then you're not gonna end up in a situation where it's able to determine whether or not someone's cheating. So on a person level, it's gonna be difficult no matter what. You technically can determine it, but you have to look at a ton of different factors, looking at headshot rate, games played, the amount of time the account's been created, just so many things. So no, but also yes. Like, quickly, no. Overall, yes. And the last thing is new accounts for cheaters. Are they gonna exist whenever the anti-cheat comes out? I think they will. I think they will naturally, because you can spoof IPs, you can spoof everything. but they'll probably get banned pretty quickly afterwards. So I think we'll see still new accounts and stuff like that, but I don't think it's going to be as big of a deal as it has been. Either way, hope this was informative. Hope you enjoyed. I hope that some of you guys don't rage in the comments, because I'm sure it's just going to be everybody angry about some of the things that I said. I gave you my honest opinion, and if that hurts you and if you're upset, it is what it is. I hope you have a great day. Bye.